Hey guys, what's going on? This is Duncan and Jeff here from Syber. Today we're doing Syber Skool on mouse. Mouses. Mises.
You got it.
Mouse. There we go. Anyway, guys, so today we're going to be talking about mouses and the different variety of types and what kind really fit for you as, you know, the person using it. Now, people have different varying hands, and let's kind of start there. Mouses are these little things right here that we use all the time. See, there's a wire attached to it. Kind of use it to, like, you know, shift and go places. As you can see, and it's got this nice little glowing light on the back of it, so you guys can enjoy that. But mouses are very different for everybody. Some are small, some are narrow, some are fat, some are medium-sized. Basically, mouses are like the people of the technological world. They're interchangeable, they do cool little things and little tricks, but in the end, their existence ends up being wiped out by a newer, bigger, better kind of breed. Mutants. They will wipe us out one day, Jeff.
Okay.
Okay, anyway. Focusing on the rest of that, but mouses are very important to you and your gaming experience and what you're using it for. Just like we were talking about performance before, and now we're going to be talking about what you use your mouse for. Now, first of all, if you're gaming, you want a mouse that ranges anywhere from, what is that? I want to say 4800 DPI, maybe even higher. Sometimes like 80, I think it's 82 right now?
I think
82?
that maybe that's probably about right. Yeah.
About 8200, maybe less. I mean, and you can correct me, but they're pretty high up for things to be so accurate and pinpoint that it's ridiculous. Now you say, well, what's the 800? Was it 80,000? Was it 8,200 DPI compared to like a 400 DPI? Well, it's easy. The lower you go on the DPI, the less range your mouse is going to have. Meaning, if I have to move the mouse just a short distance, but I'm going to have to take my hand to go to get across to it, that's the lower the DPI. It's less sensitive. The higher the DPI means it's going to track so much more, so what I would have to do is flick my wrist and it would jump across the screen. Now, you would say, why would that be important to me, the user? Well, if you're gaming, higher DPI is usually kind of favored. Also because when people are in kind of small confined spaces, they don't want to have to take their hand and try to do 6 or 7 motions. And no, don't think what I'm thinking when I do this, but I'm just saying that you have to kind of, you know, go through a big workout trying to get from point A to point B with your pointer. But with higher DPI, what it requires is just you to flick just a little bit and the arrow will move so fast across your screen because you're covering more DPI in the movement. It's basically like saying your car goes from 0 to 60, but your car just does 60 every time. Damn. That'd be horrible. Like, 60, you get in your car, like there'd be no backing out safely or anything. You would hit old ladies constantly. But so with that, you're saying, why do you use it so much, you know, and why would you need it so fast? Like I said, it's for confined spaces or people playing video games, and they want to be accurate. Now, that's not always the case, because certain gamers have certain play styles. Some of them don't even like them to be sensitive at all. They want it to be so low on the list that all it requires is them to take their keyboard and minimally move it to shoot and hit exactly where they need to hit. Because if you have it at such a high DPI, just the smallest fraction, even a sniffle or a sneeze can make it go off by a centimeter and screw up your whole gameplay. So, depending on what kind of game you are, that's what you look at and for a mouse and DPI. The next part is you want to look at, what are you using the mouse for again? As the average consumer, usually they don't need so much of a high DPI, but a DPI that at least allows them, depending on the workspace they're at, to, you know, move around. So again, if they have like, say, a square box and they just want to move their hand back and forth like this, but to get the most movement out of it, a little bit higher DPI. I mean, not needed in the 82,000 high range, but definitely you're going to need something to 82,000.
8,200.
8,200. I keep saying 82,000. I'm sorry. That's
no worries.
I'm thinking thousands in my head because it is in the thousands.
8,200.
8,200. But anyway, in that kind of range, that's super fast. But if you get something that's like, say, 2,400, which you would just barely move but still get the same response, but it's not going to be as drastic, you can basically, you know, do what you need to do in your everyday chores, from clicking on mouses, web browsers, trying to hide that porn from mom, or if you're just trying to make sure that you buy the right gifts for your girlfriend and she shows up, you can sneakily click it left and then hide it so she never realizes it. But besides that, guys, those are kind of the uses for it. Now, lower DPI just means sometimes people like making the hand motions, which that could also vary for people who like to draw. Drawing takes a little more skill and is a little more tedious, so any kind of small movements can really mess it up. So sometimes just taking their hand and slowly drawing an arc and doing this with their hand is usually easier than them jumping over on the screen. So now that we know what DPI is, we're going to move to the other part. Again, preferences for every person is like a profile. Are you gaming? Are you using it for everyday use? Are you doing it for artistic editing? Always varies. So, it's kind of easier to say we break it up more into gaming, average consumer, and then work-related. Because work-related can vary from anything from editing videos, Photoshop, and all that fun stuff. So, like the DPIs we said, lower DPIs, not so bad depending on the user, can be used by the average or to somebody who's artistic. A medium range for DPIs, and if you're saying what are the DPIs for middle or lower, usually it's anywhere from 0 to 800 is super low, 800 to about 2,400 is pretty decent, average user, and then anywhere from 2,500 and up to I think the 8,200 is just in gaming range. It's just fractions where you're oh, do I really want it that fast, this fast, maybe a little less, more. It's all again on the user. So with that said, it also comes down to your hand. Your hand is a weird hand. Put up your hand. See, they look pretty much in the same. Is my hand on the same yours? Oh, we're pretty close. You got a couple more on me.
Do it again. Oh, magic.
I'll touch your hand.
Okay.
Do you want to go mold clay later?
I would love to.
To the sound of an old 50s song in a basement? All right.
Sounds good.
There we go. Anyway, so with the size of your hand, it's going to be different. I range anywhere from a small, or from kind of a bigger, narrow mouse to kind of a fatty mouse to really relax my hand, because those are my preferences. Medium mouses, they're okay to me, but sometimes they're just very awkward. I mean, what kind of mouses do you prefer?
I generally, this is actually, I have two of these. This is the Razer Mamba that I use, and it's nice because it's right-handed and it's about a medium-sized mouse. I generally do the claw in the sense where I'm I have a higher DPI, and a lot of other people. I met this one guy at Fry's one time, and he was like, "I want a mouse that I can move all over the mouse." I'm sorry, we got to cut, dude.
You want a mouse that moves all the way over the map? Is that what you're saying right there?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm screwing it up.
No, you're totally fine.
All right, no worries. And my heart rate's jumping. Are we live?
No, we're not live.
Okay, good.
You're lucky I can edit this out, but I'm not going to do it.
All right. What? No, please do that. Please do that. I just kind of went on the tangent, and I was like, but anyways, I actually prefer the Razer Mamba myself. It's kind of a medium-sized mouse, and you can actually adjust the DPI pretty low to pretty high. If I actually prefer the claw movement in the sense where you're just kind of moving around with just your hand instead of moving your arm around like some other gamers, but that's generally what I prefer in terms of mice. So
again, we always have another person with us, so we can kind of show the spectrum of users and the mouses that they use, or any kind of users that we have for PCs. Same thing goes for keyboards, but that's another topic. But anyway, so when we do that kind of stuff with our mouses, we always have to ask ourselves what kind of DPI, what kind of size we want. And then the other part comes into it is what kind of, mouse buttons do I want on it? I mean, you get the typical 2 and a roller in the middle, which is your scrolling wheel. But sometimes they come with additionals. I actually have a Death Adler, which is the Elite Pro, which has 2 little middle buttons in the center, right about under where the wheel is. I have the regular little, left and right clickies, and then I have 2 additional buttons on the left and right side, on the left side for my hand. So when I'm using it like this and I go like this, I can hit both buttons easily. Now I also have another one, which is a Rocat that I let my girlfriend use, that I was using for a while, that actually has a space bar at the bottom. So while I'm doing stuff, I can just space and move space, jump, any kind of stuff like that. So again, that's more of gaming mouses that me and Jeff have because we game a lot. You don't need that kind of stuff if you're going home and you're just basically ordering off Amazon, talking to somebody on a chat room. I mean, it's not going to be that prolific that you need the mouse buttons or hotkeys on the side for them. But, if you feel that you need that or you want that extra luxury, go for it. I mean, it's never to say no that you want to buy more in it. But also certain mouses too, have the different things like, wireless. We noticed that Jeff is a wireless, mine is wired. The thing is that sometimes wired and wireless, have different pros and cons. The great thing about wireless is that you can actually take it anywhere, have it. There's no, wire that attaches and blocks, and you have to find great, tying up techniques to make sure that it stays out of the way. because it's just right there. You can just pick it up, use it, and then put it down. The pros are basically all of those. The cons comes down to it can actually run out of battery life. Sometimes it's not as responsive if something blocks its receiver. Most of the times it's not the case anymore with technology, but it has happened from time to time. I mean, those are probably I think that's pretty much the downsides to having a wireless mouse. I mean, is there anything else you would think that would like wired and non-wireless?
The interesting thing is that this particular model is actually both. The base station is wired, and you can actually unplug it and plug the mouse in if the battery runs out. So even though that the battery life could be a con, even still, if the battery runs out, you can still plug it in. So.
Oh wait, the base access you can plug it back in.
Yeah, like so. This.
Oh, there you go. See,
you plug the base in, and it acts as wired or wireless. And then if it runs out of battery, you actually plug the mouse in, and it's wired.
I'm more of a fuddy-duddy. I use wired. I prefer wired every single time. It is my favorite thing because I just know that the thing will never die, and if it does, I know there's something wrong with it. If the battery dies on that, then it could be just plug it in, but I don't know. So, but again, now with that kind of version, it's different. But then again, Razer's always been good at making mouses and keyboards with the peripherals. So, kudos to you, Razer. Golf clap. Anyway, so that's basically the basics of just mouses, guys. I mean, everything we talked about from DPI to the size, measurement, click rates vary too. Sometimes people like double click rates and stuff like that, but that's, again, that is a user preference more than, relies on the mouse. Sometimes mouses, have different ways that they're made. Sometimes the keys are built into them, or sometimes they're like, as Razer and a lot of them are doing, they barely hover over the switch, so what you have to do is lightly tap it, so. But again, those, from everything we're talking about, the DPI, the size, wired, non-wired, those are the things that will get you started in picking out your first mouse. And it should also be the one that helps you pick out and kind of gauge in the rest of the future. There's going to be lots more new technology out there, and as it goes on, we'll keep updating you guys, but I think that was a good start to buying your mouse.
I agree.
All right, guys, and thank you again for being here at Syber Skool. My name's Duncan.
I'm Jeff.
And you guys have a good one.